The Odyssey was supposed to be a routine exploration mission, but as Captain Mark Evans stared out the shattered viewport at the alien landscape, he knew nothing about this mission would be routine. "Mayday, Mayday!" Mark called into the radio, but there was only static in response. Behind him, Jake Collins, the engineer, was busy assessing the damage. "Engines are shot. Communications are down. We're stuck here for now," Jake reported, wiping sweat from his brow. Laura Harris, the pilot, was already working with Dr. Emily Rivera, the biologist, to gather supplies. "We need to find shelter and figure out what kind of planet we're dealing with," Laura said, her voice steady despite the situation. "Agreed," Mark said, trying to keep his crew calm. "Let's move out and see what we can find." As they stepped out of the wrecked ship, the beauty of the planet struck them. Lush, vibrant forests stretched as far as the eye could see, and strange, colorful creatures flitted through the trees. But their awe was short-lived. They needed to find help, or at least a place to regroup. Hours into their trek, the crew stumbled upon a group of figures watching them from a distance. Mark raised his hand, signaling for the crew to stop. The figures emerged from the forest, revealing themselves to be a group of tall, elegant alien women, their skin a shimmering blue and eyes glowing with curiosity. One of them stepped forward, her gaze fixed on Mark. "Welcome to Elara," she said in perfect English, her voice melodic yet commanding. "I am Zara, leader of this region. You are not from here." "No, we're not," Mark replied cautiously. "Our ship crashed and we need assistance." Zara's eyes narrowed slightly, but she nodded. "Follow us. We can offer you shelter and perhaps answers." The astronauts followed Zara and her companions deeper into the forest until they reached a breathtaking city. Buildings made of what looked like crystal and light merged seamlessly with the natural surroundings. The technology was advanced yet harmonious with nature. Inside a grand hall, Zara introduced the crew to her council. "These visitors are from another world," she announced. "We will help them, but we must also learn from them." The astronauts exchanged glances, realizing that their survival now depended on their ability to navigate this new world and its inhabitants. As they settled into their temporary quarters, Mark gathered his crew. "We need to be careful. We don't know their intentions fully, but we also need their help." Dr. Emily Rivera nodded, her curiosity piqued by the alien technology and biology. "I want to learn more about them. There's so much we can discover here." Jake looked around, his engineer's mind already racing with possibilities. "And maybe we can find a way to fix the Odyssey with their help." Laura leaned back, her gaze steady. "Let's take it one step at a time. We survived the crash. Now we need to survive here." As night fell on Elara, the crew of the Odyssey settled in, unaware of the challenges and discoveries that lay ahead. They were strangers in a strange land, but with each other's support and a little luck, they might just find their way home. The days following their arrival in Elara City were a whirlwind of activity and adaptation for the astronauts. Communication with the alien women led by Zara was established through a sophisticated translation device that the aliens provided. The device not only translated words but also helped convey emotions and intentions, making interactions smoother. Zara gave the astronauts a tour of their city, revealing a society that had seamlessly integrated advanced technology with the natural world. The buildings glowed with an inner light, and the streets were lined with plants that seemed to pulse with energy. "Our technology is based on the natural energy of our planet," Zara explained. "It powers everything and sustains us." Dr. Emily Rivera was fascinated by the alien flora and fauna. She spent hours with Lyra, an alien scientist, learning about the unique ecosystems of Elara. "Your plants and animals have properties we've never seen before," Emily said, examining a glowing flower. "This could revolutionize our understanding of biology." Lyra smiled, her eyes twinkling. "And your knowledge of medicine and technology is equally fascinating. There is much we can learn from each other." Meanwhile, Jake Collins and Laura Harris worked with the alien engineers to assess the damage to the Odyssey. The aliens' technology was far more advanced, and Jake marveled at their efficiency and innovation. "If we can combine our tech with theirs, we might have a chance to repair the ship," Jake said to Laura, who nodded in agreement. Captain Mark Evans spent his time with Zara, discussing their worlds and their respective histories. He learned that Alara had once faced a catastrophic event that nearly wiped out its inhabitants. "We rebuilt our society by learning to live in harmony with our environment," Zara said. "It's a delicate balance, but it has made us stronger." Mark was impressed by Zara's leadership and the resilience of her people. "Your society is remarkable," he said. "I hope we can earn your trust and work together." Despite the growing camaraderie, not all was peaceful. Some members of the Alien Council were wary of the newcomers. ****, a high-ranking official, voiced her concerns during a meeting. "We do not know their true intentions," she argued. "They could bring danger to our world." Zara, however, was firm in her decision. "We must give them a chance. They are stranded and need our help. In return, we can learn from them." As days turned into weeks, the bond between the astronauts and the alien women deepened. Dr. Emily and Lyra developed a close friendship, exchanging knowledge and ideas. Jake and Laura made significant progress on the ship, with the aliens' assistance, and Mark and Zara's mutual respect grew into a strong alliance. One evening, as the astronauts gathered in their quarters, Mark addressed his crew. "We've made great strides here, but we need to stay vigilant. Not everyone trusts us, and we still have a long way to go to get home." Laura nodded, her eyes reflecting determination. "We'll get there, Captain, one step at a time." Emily smiled, holding up a glowing plant sample. "And in the meantime, we'll learn as much as we can. This place is incredible." Jake clapped a hand on Mark's shoulder. "We'll fix the Odyssey, Captain. I promise." As the night sky of Alara sparkled with unfamiliar constellations, the crew of the Odyssey felt a renewed sense of hope. They had found allies in this strange new world, and with their help, they might just find their way back to Earth. But unknown challenges and secrets still lurked in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. Weeks turned into months as the astronauts and the alien women worked side by side. The city of Alara became a second home to the crew of the Odyssey, and their initial wariness transformed into a genuine bond. Zara and Mark often spent long hours discussing not just their respective worlds, but also their philosophies and dreams for the future. Dr. Emily Rivera and Lyra's collaboration yielded incredible discoveries. The plants of Alara had medicinal properties that could revolutionize human medicine. "This one," Lyra pointed out a plant with bioluminescent leaves, "can heal wounds almost instantly." Emily was astounded. "We could save countless lives with this knowledge." Meanwhile, Jake Collins and Laura Harris made substantial progress on repairing the Odyssey. The aliens' advanced technology integrated surprisingly well with the ship's systems. "We've got the engines up and running," Jake announced one day, his face beaming with pride. "Just a few more tweaks and we can start thinking about a test flight." Laura's excitement was tempered by caution. "Let's make sure everything's perfect before we take off. We don't want to end up stranded again." As their time on Alara lengthened, the astronauts became more involved in the daily life of the alien city. They participated in cultural ceremonies, learned about the history of the Alarans, and even shared some of their own traditions. But not all was harmonious. Nira, the high-ranking official who had initially voiced her distrust of the humans, had grown increasingly vocal. "They are a threat to our way of life," she argued in council meetings. "We must send them away before they bring destruction upon us." Zara defended the astronauts vehemently. "They have done nothing but help us and learn from us. They deserve our trust." The tension came to a head one evening when a small group of Nira's followers attempted to sabotage the Odyssey's repair efforts. Alarms blared as Mark and Jake rushed to the site of the attack. They found damaged components and signs of a struggle. "We have to find who did this," Jake said, his voice tight with anger. "They're trying to keep us here." Zara confronted Nira in the council chamber. "This has gone too far, Nira. Your fear is causing harm. We need to stand together, not tear each other apart." Nira's face was a mask of defiance. "I only want to protect our people. Can you be sure the humans won't bring others? Can you be sure they won't destroy our world?" Zara's voice was steady. "We cannot let fear dictate our actions. We must trust in our ability to build bridges, not walls." In the aftermath of the sabotage, Mark gathered his crew. "We need to be more vigilant. There are those here who don't want us to leave. and they could become dangerous. Emily looked troubled. We've made so much progress. It would be heartbreaking to see it all undone by fear. Laura nodded. We need to finish the repairs and get out of here before things escalate. The next few weeks were tense, but with Zara's support, the astronauts pushed forward. They increased security around the Odyssey and worked tirelessly to repair the damage. Their determination paid off when Jake announced that the ship was ready for a test flight. As they prepared for the test, Zara approached Mark. If this works, you'll be able to leave soon. Mark nodded, his expression bittersweet. We've come to care about your world and your people. Leaving won't be easy. Zara smiled gently. And you have become dear to us as well. But we will always be connected by the knowledge we've shared and the bonds we've formed. The test flight was a success, and for the first time since their crash, the crew of the Odyssey felt the possibility of returning home. But as they celebrated their achievement, a sense of foreboding lingered. They knew their departure might not go smoothly, and the hidden threat of those who opposed them still loomed large. The day of departure approached quickly, and the crew of the Odyssey prepared for their final goodbyes. Emotions ran high as they reflected on their time in Alara. The ship was repaired thanks to the collaboration between the astronauts and the alien women, but tensions remained palpable. Nira's faction, though quieter after Zara's firm stance, hadn't disappeared. Mark and Zara met one last time in the council chamber, discussing the final details of their departure. We've arranged for an escort to ensure your safe passage to the launch site, Zara said. But be cautious. Nira's supporters might still try something. Mark nodded, appreciating Zara's continued support. Thank you, Zara, for everything. We couldn't have made it without you. Zara's eyes softened. You brought us knowledge and friendship, Mark. It has been an honor. As the crew made their way to the Odyssey, the streets were lined with Alarans who had come to bid them farewell. Dr. Emily Rivera embraced Lyra, holding back tears. I'll miss you, Lyra. Thank you for everything you've taught me. Lyra smiled warmly. And I you, Emily. Your spirit and curiosity have inspired us all. Jake and Laura shared a final handshake with the engineers who had become their friends. Take care of each other, Jake said, his voice thick with emotion. We will, one of the engineers replied. Safe travels, friends. The mood was bittersweet as the astronauts boarded their ship. They had come to love this alien world and its people, but Earth was their home, and they longed to return. As the Odyssey's engines roared to life, Zara and her council stood watch, their expressions a mix of hope and sadness. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the launch site. Nira and her followers had made a last-ditch effort to prevent the humans from leaving. Chaos erupted as debris flew and alarms blared. It's Nira! Laura shouted, scrambling to stabilize the controls. Mark's voice cut through the noise. We need to lift off now. Jake, how bad is the damage? Jake quickly assessed the situation. The engines are holding, but we can't sustain another hit. We have to go now. Zara and her loyal guards fought back against Nira's saboteurs, trying to clear a path for the Odyssey. Zara's voice came through the comms, urgent but resolute. You have to leave, Mark. We'll handle this. Mark's heart pounded as he looked at his crew. Brace yourselves. We're lifting off. With a deafening roar, the Odyssey surged upwards. The ship shuddered as it broke free from the atmosphere, but the engines held. They had made it. As the planet Ilara grew smaller in the viewport, the crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. Dr. Emily Rivera watched the planet recede, her eyes shimmering with tears. I hope they'll be okay. They will, Mark said, his voice steady. Zara is a strong leader. She'll guide them through. Laura guided the ship on its course back to Earth, her hands steady on the controls. Let's get home, everyone. Jake leaned back, exhausted but smiling. We did it. Against all odds, we did it. The journey home was filled with reflection and planning. The data they had collected, the knowledge they had gained, and the bonds they had formed would change their lives forever. As they approached Earth, the crew of the Odyssey knew they carried with them more than just scientific discoveries. They carried the spirit of Ilara and the lessons of unity and resilience. Touching down on Earth, they were hailed as heroes. News of their incredible journey spread quickly, and they were met with both awe and curiosity. But to the crew of the Odyssey, their adventure was more than a story to tell. It was a testament to the power of cooperation and the endless possibilities that lay among the stars. And as they looked up at the night sky, they knew that somewhere out there, their friends on Alara were looking back, bound by an unbreakable bond that spanned the galaxy.